Take you to Ayawaso East, where my colleague Fatah Bayaga is in Nima and is bringing us updates. Fatah, what's happening?
So I am stationed here at the Nima cluster of schools. There are two polling stations here. The voting process has been quite slow as of now. A lot of people are not coming out to vote in their large numbers. It's been quite slow here, but the officials tell me that it's been smooth so far. The process has been seamless. There are a number of police officers who are also here ensuring that everything goes on very well. This is located within the center of this particular constituency. We are talking about Nima proper, where this particular election process is going on. We will speak with the EC shortly, but you see how the police have arranged the place to ensure that any person who would want to, in a way, cause trouble is foiled. So that's the arrangements, the crucial arrangements here. You see some other police officers clearly monitoring the process as it unfolds here within the Ayawaso East constituency. So let's engage the presiding officer here who has been monitoring the process since morning. You have been here. Talk to us about how this process has been so far.
It has been quiet and peaceful, at least since morning. You can see the security presence here, and then the voters are also trickling in, and we are processing them as and when they come. So it's quiet, but peaceful and orderly.
It appears it's been quite slow, isn't it?
By the look of things, but we are told that they will be coming from the party agent who are very familiar with the electorate or the voters and also with the terrain. They have said the people here are predominantly Muslims, and you know they are fasting. So in the afternoon time, they come out, and then you come out massively and vote. So that is what hopefully we are expecting.
Talk to us about the numbers. How many people have voted so far, and what is the expected number of voters here?
We have 249 registered voters here at the center 1. That is Nima 1 DHS Center 1, 249. But for now, I think 60 voters have been processed, they've been voted, so which is barely 23 or so percent, 24% of them so far. Yeah, for now, we have registered, been processed, and they are gone.
But looking at what is happening at the moment, don't you think that you may record lower voter turnout?
But you know, generally, that in by-elections, you don't normally experience explosive numbers like the general elections. But that notwithstanding, once sensitization and awareness have been created, the voters know that they have to come out and elect their representative in Parliament. The information has gone down well with them, and I believe that they will come. And like I said earlier, these days the voters are unpredictable. You know, a more forced group of people, they can, within the next minute, you could see massive numbers coming. Absolutely. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. So, MFR, it's been quite very interesting. All the supporters of the various candidates are optimistic that they are going to, or their preferred candidates will win in this very election. Earlier, the NDC's candidate, Baba Jamal, came here. He interacted with some party supporters and observed the process. But let me engage some of the agents themselves who have been monitoring the process since morning. Hello, sir. You are representing the New Patriotic Party. How has the process been for you?
So far, it has been peaceful and it is going on well. Yes.
You think that your candidate has a chance today?
Of course. Of course. Looking at the voting trend already, every day when they're voting here, most of them has been coming out to vote. And we know ourselves here, quite NDC people that who used to be voting, today I've not been seeing them coming. Meanwhile, it tells you that maybe there's something that's going on, because a lot of them think that they've shared TV, which they didn't get some. They've shared fridges, which they didn't get some. They've shared money that they didn't get some. So they cannot also come and vote without them giving them money. So unless they be giving money before they come and vote. So with that, we are quite confident that we can take opportunity or advantage of that and win the election today.
Thank you very much. Let me also speak with the NDC's agent who is also here. He clearly said that your supporters are not coming out to vote today because they've not gotten TV sets and among other things. How would you respond to this?
Oh, it's a lie. It is because today it is two things. Today is a working days, and then we are also in the Ramadan season. So some of the Muslims, by now they are sleeping. So around 3 o'clock, you see, they will come out. So the supporters will come out. Though that the turning is slow, but I believe from 3 o'clock going, they will come in their numbers. So what he's saying is lying.
So you are going to win today?
Oh, automatically we are going to win.
All right, thank you very much. So MFA, in fact, history favors the National Democratic Congress. Since this particular constituency was created, the NDC has always won this particular election massively. In fact, in the last election, the late Nasser Turel won with over 70 votes, in fact, in this particular constituency. But the MPP says that, you know, this year or this time around, they are also going to push very hard, and they are quite convinced that something would, maybe strange, would pop up this time around. So that's been the situation here at the Ayawaso East constituency. We are monitoring all the developments as they emerge minute after minute. We'll bring that to you.
Well, thank you so much, Fatal Bayaga. Kofi, Fatal has been in that constituency since 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And is bringing us updates. He tells us that, of course, history favors the NDC. That's no secret. We know this. But for you, so far, are you surprised at the turnout?
Yeah, I'm not surprised because you see two things. I mean, the NDC representative actually made mention that you look at the period we are in, this is a highly, Muslim populated community. If you look at the demographic of the Ayawaso East, from Nima to other places, you could see that this is an area that is heavily populated by people of the good religion of Islam. And this is the Ramadan season. And so it will be hard for anybody to be surprised looking at the turnout. But even outside the Ramadan season, the level of turnout in the 2024 election wasn't that encouraging. I've looked at the numbers and it's below 63%. And so adding this factor of Ramadan and the fact that it's also a working day, not a holiday, that should tell you that we should be expecting very, very low turnout. And that could play to the advantage of any of the candidates. This is a constituency that, if you check the trend so far, since 1996 or 1994, always, and almost all the time, you have independent candidates challenging and other political parties also challenging. There has never been, a two-horse race for both the NPP and the NDC. You always have a third force in that constituency, but it has always been a safe seat for the NDC, except in 2000 where it was keenly contested. I think it was around 44% for the NDC versus 43% for the NPP. Apart from that election year, the NDC has been always a field day for the NDC when it comes to Ayawaso East, elections in terms of the parliamentary election. And I'm not surprised I'm seeing the numbers because already we are getting, historical data that this is one of the constituencies that they turn out to vote all right, but since 2024, turnout has been very, very low, 62% turnout in the last election. And looking at the fact that it's also a by-election, and with the other factors attached with like Ramadan and the fact that it's a working day, the expectation is that turnout should be very low. It's
interesting because for that particular area, it's quite, the urbanization of it is very dominated by Muslims. The younger folks are there. In fact, they describe their campaigns as very energetic. But you realize that the energy with the campaigns, usually, not particularly for this by-election, I'm talking general election, and the numbers usually do not tally. But you can see it now, even at the by-election stage. Now, why is this important for the NDC, if you ask me?
If you look at any constituency that is dominated by the youth, you are likely to see low voter turnout because it is very difficult to convince a youth to go and vote because in a day there are so many things attracting their attention, right? And their propensity to vote is relatively lower compared to those who are about 40 or 50 years. A simple game or a simple football game can even sway somebody's attention that I'll go later, and they keep procrastination. By the time they realize, I mean, this is at the end of polls and they do not turn out to vote. And so it's good to have youth in your constituency, but in terms of convincing them to turn out to go and vote, sometimes it's very, very difficult, especially if you have Gen Zs also populating. It's difficult to convince them, and sometimes you have to do a lot to convince them that you need to come out to come and vote for me. I mean, it's for me, it's looking at the projections so far and the numbers we are looking at. It can go in anybody's quota.
Really?
And yes, because I'm looking at Omar Sanda, who contested Baba Jama in the primary, and he's actually not happy with the outcome. Has decided that he wants to go independent. Many are projecting that this could be, sand in the gallery of the NDC because you needed a united front, but that is not happening. And having a third force contesting an NDC candidate isn't also really helping. And in fact, if you look at the fact that this is a constituency that, almost all the years you've had independent candidates, other persons contesting. It will be interesting to see whose basket or whose pot
one will be eating from.
Exactly, but it's been clear from all the polls we are looking at so far that it's possibly going to be.
But we've seen as well historically that the fact that a person belongs to a particular party, when they move, they are likely not to move with their people. Data will show that.
Absolutely.
For example, he's moved. He's not happy with the how the election ended because Baba Jamal took the lead. But really, do you suspect that voters would come along with him and it would affect largely the results?
You need to look at the party affiliation. It's very important because this is a constituency that is also NDC heavy. It's green. It's a very green constituency, right? So there are those who are affiliated to a party and affiliated to an individual, and there are those who are affiliated to you because of the party. So once you decide that you're not contesting on the ticket of the party anymore, there are those who have the feeling that you have betrayed the party, and so they will not move with you.
Yes.
So in moving between states, there are those who say that, well, I'm deciding to stay where I am because I believe that you have not been faithful to the party. There are those who still decide that because of my allegiance to you and because of my personal relationship with you, I'm deciding to stay with you. We have so many templates to learn from, even in the presidential election. Look at Alan Sherman who decided to break away. Not all supporters who used to support him when he was with the NPP decided to follow him. You had a number of them decided to stay still with the NPP because their party affiliation is possibly stronger than their personal affiliation with Alan Sherman. So in a case like that, you always have to test and weigh the balance to get the balance to see, in terms of affiliation, in terms of those who will support you, are they supporting you because of their personal relationship with you or because they like you on a personal level, or they're supporting you because of the political party you belong to, right? So if you are leaving the green camp, how sure are you that there are people who will decide to leave that camp and say that we're going to follow you? You definitely will get people, but the big question always is getting that significant number that will be enough for you to win it.
For presidential, I can come along with you when we advance the argument that people largely will follow a candidate because of the party they belong to. However, I see the parliamentary as more decentralized, how a constituency member feels very attached to a person. In fact, people vote for an individual to be their member of parliament, and then they vote for the person that the party chose to be the flag bearer.
The skirt and blouse.
The skirt and blouse system, which we have seen in this country a lot of time. I am just thinking for parliamentary, how significant this independent candidate can eat from the pot. I do not anticipate that he'll win. I don't anticipate.
I agree with you 100% because we've seen different test cases across the length and breadth of the country. You take Fomena, for instance, where Fomena is a heavy blue constituency, NPP through and through. But in a certain election year, 2020 election, decided that, well, we were not happy with the decision taken by the party, right? So we have decided to stay with the person who decided to break away and to vote for him. And so you are right when you say that in the parliamentary election, the dynamics are a bit different when you compare that to the presidential, because affiliation in terms of parliamentary elections usually are based on religious reasons, are based on so many other reasons that people find it difficult to actually break away with, ethnic reasons and all of that. There are people who will vote for you because they believe that you are their tribesman, right? So no matter what you do, whether you decide to break away from your party or not, they will continue to stay with you. But in this case, this is somebody who is breaking away from a party that is in government, right? A party that currently has the blessing of Ghanaians, currently has a lot of goodwill, and almost everything is going well, especially on the economic front for the NDC. And so they still want to have a connection to the NDC.
Give me a minute. Stay with me. Let's go back to the constituency where the NPP's candidate is speaking to the media.
Of violence, of gift given how these by-elections
from the other side. I heard people saying.
You've heard reports of this.
People saying something of that sort. Yes.
But you haven't seen it.
But you know they have a record.
But you
not long ago in their primaries it happened. So if it's happening,
you're not scared to sway them.
No. Okay. People are ready to change.
Okay. And so Ghanaians, this is the man that says that. So that was the NPP's candidate for the Ayawaso East constituency, and he has been talking about his chances of winning. He says he would mark history this time around come the end of this contest. He says he would be winning this seat, given this seat being the NDC's stronghold. I'd want to pick the thoughts of you are an executive for the NPP. This has not been an NPP stronghold. How confident are you of winning?
Well, I mean, nobody thought the NDC could win Domi Kwabenya. They won. Nobody thought that the NDC could win Ekwapim South. They won. So nobody can tell me that there is a seat in this country that is not winnable, you know, at any point in time. So let people know that by the close of today, we are going to count Ayawaso East as one of the seats of the NPP. And that's what we have worked towards, and by the grace of God, we are going to achieve it.
And what are your projections for this? Because the NDC say they'll be winning by some over 70%. What's your projection?
Let them keep dreaming, okay? They haven't even brought a hole here in this constituency. Other constituencies, they go and they work midnight. Here, not even a Pegasus has hit the ground here. Why? They think that people don't reason. They think that people don't think they do. The people want development. If you're not giving it to them, they are not voting machines that automatically they'll go and vote for you. It doesn't happen like that.
One of the major characteristics of a by-election will be the low voter turnout. And it's been across almost all the polling stations you visited. Are you not concerned this will be a major playout for your win?
No, not at all. I mean, all of us who have followed by-elections over the period, we know that the turnout is usually low. And clearly, what we are seeing happening today is testament to, you know, that long-standing tradition of low turnout as far as by-elections are concerned. But we are not perturbed as well, at all. And I'm sure that the people coming out would vote for the candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Baba Ali Yusuf. Look, also, we should be minded that this is predominantly, you know, a Muslim community, and we are in the period of Ramadan, so a lot of people are fasting and, you know, catching some time, and afterwards so many other people we have spoken to in the community say they will vote after 3. So the numbers will pick up after 3, and I'm sure that the turnout will go a little bit high, and also, you know, still go in favor of our candidates. So we are very upbeat with what's going on now.
My last question to you. The 2024 election saw you go out of office. The Ghanaian populace say you didn't really give them what they needed. Are you confident you are going to give these people what they need? What are you going to? What are you promising them?
They are disappointed with what is going on.
Are they?
The Ghanaian people are. Ask anybody who voted for the NDC. Look, let's put ballot boxes across the 40,000 polling stations in this country and see whether the NDC will get the same number of votes again. They will not, I am telling you.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. So you think that cocoa farmers who have received a dastardly haircut will still go and vote for this incompetent government? No, they will not. You think the youth of this country who were promised agenda 133 jobs and the 24-hour economy that has failed, you think they will still go and vote for this government? You think the people who believed in oral that the NPP people are stealing money to the tune of $21 billion, and today it's a fiasco? You still think people are gullible? They will swallow hook, line and sinker such stinky propaganda? No. You still think that the issue of Galamsey, that remain unresolved, that today Galamsey is even far worse than it was before. That was put under the neck of the NPP and strangulated. You think today people don't see that Galamsey is far worse than it was before? They do. So on what accord? Look, utility prices have gone up. People are suffering to pay electricity bills and water bills. Okay? You don't, by any stretch of the imagination, think that these same people would get up and go and vote for the NDC. Why? Because they are the most handsome set of people in this country, or what? Or because they breathe, some different superior air than we all breathe? No. It's common sense. The people want deliverables, and the NDC is not giving the deliverables.
You think when the NDC and the NPP are put apart currently, they'll choose you?
Today, almost everybody is looking for Akufo-Addo to give him his stone. Right?
To give him his stone.
His stone. And it's just a matter of time that the people of Ghana will look for Akufo-Addo in the hot afternoon like this with lanterns and torchlights.
For what?
Because of the shame that this government would put on the Ghanaian people, the lies that they told on Akufo-Addo. But the performance of this government would expose them that what Akufo-Addo did, they would not match a fraction of it.
So you think Akufo-Addo will be a savior for the failure of this government?
Give time, some time. And once we keep meeting and having conversations, one day you will tell me that indeed the stone has been brought. John Mahama has failed already. This government is a failure already. It's failed already. If all these things I have counted doesn't scare you, I don't know what else will scare you, but just wait and see. Some of the things that would unravel as far as the economic mess that we are encountering would unfold right in our faces. It is not me wishing doom for them, but it is their act of incompetence that is catching up with them. The lies that they told, the unfathomable promises they made, that's what is going to catch up with them. And just a matter of time.
So for this constituency, what are you promising the people here?
Baba Ali is a bona fide member of this community, born bred here. Since we have been campaigning and going around, they have told us we drink, eat, sleep, play everything with him. Baba Ali here, we know him. Baba Jamal, was MP in Akwetia. Chopped the way he wanted after Akwetia, became High Commissioner to Nigeria. He has run back here. Why? It cannot be about one person. It cannot be. The people read in between the lines as well. So the people think that it's time for a fresh blood, time for some, new breath of energy, and that's why Baba Ali Yusuf is the option for the people. Homegrown, homeboy, he understands them, they know him, and indeed, he represents the aspirations of the people of Ayawaso East, so that every born member of this community knows that I can also rise and get to the top as far as contributing to the society, to the success of this society is concerned.
Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
So that was an executive of the NPP, and he has been given his projections as to what the NPP will be accumulating in terms of votes for this by-election. I'd want to pick the thoughts of the presiding bishops for this polling station, the Roman Catholic School polling station. We were here earlier in the morning, and we got to understand that this polling station, the Collation Center, will be housing 3 different polling stations: Roman Catholic 1, Roman Catholic 2, and Roman Catholic 3. The Roman Catholic 1 will be housing 169 residents, and they will all be voting at the Roman Catholic School 1. Roman Catholic School 2 will be voting and will be housing 190 residents. They'll be voting at the Roman Catholic 2, and Roman Catholic 3 will be housing some 200 persons voting at the Roman Catholic 3. For now, this is the update we can give you from the Roman Catholic School polling station here in the Ayawaso constituency.
Ayawaso East constituency. Let me take you to the 37 military daycare where my colleague Gemma has been pitching camp since morning. Gemma, in the morning it was quite slow. What's happening this afternoon?
MFR, nothing really much has changed here at the 37 Military Daycare Center, polling stations A and B. In the morning, I reported that some 16 people had come to cast their ballot with polling station A, but for polling station B, it was some 27 people. For now, for polling station A, 50 people have come, and then polling station C, B, 33 people have come to cast their ballots. The election officials were hoping that more people would come just around this time because this is a working environment, and so usually you realize that around 8 a.m. people will report to work, and then they'll take their break around 12 to 1 p.m. So they're expecting that at this time more people would come here to cast their ballots, but that's not the case. Is tight. There are police officers here in the numbers. I can count over 10 of them. And some few minutes ago, they took delivery of their PPEs. If you look behind me, if my camera can capture that, you see the police officers fully donned. They have their headgear on, and also the shield. They have the shield as well, and the costume already. And the police officer in charge of the station tells me that they are ready to forestall whatever incidents of violence that may occur, but they are hopeful that this place is actually a military zone, and so they don't anticipate that, but they are very ready to protect the ballot box and to also ensure security and peace and order. So a number of people have been walking in once in a while to cast their ballots, but it's not that vigorous as other polling stations may record. Very peaceful, very smoothly. There are no queues. The election officials are waiting for the people to come. I spoke to some party agents asking them what they make of the low turnout, and they said that in fact before today's polling station voting exercise, I should say, they engaged some of the voters, and they said that because this is not a national election, they don't have that enthusiasm to come, leave their work and come and then cast their ballots. And so they are not too surprised about the low turnout, but they are hoping that as the day progresses, before the polls close today, people would have come to cast their ballots. MFR.
Thank you so much, Gemma. Looks like the 37 Military Daycare Center is as calm as Gemma herself, because in the morning when she reported it was really calm. This afternoon as well is quite calm for such a constituency. Honestly, I anticipated a bit of, heat, but it looks it's relatively been very calm. You heard what the NPP candidate said. Says that no seat is unwinnable.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I can nearly want to agree with him on that, or you don't?
Sometimes you need to look at the numbers, the probability, calculations, and see in terms of you being able to win, what are your calculation telling you, and you look at what is happening currently. You need to put everything in context, right? Because here that we've actually seen from our historical data that is sometimes very easy for ruling parties to win by-elections because they have the fiscal power, they have the financial power, they have almost everything to be able to win. And especially if it's in their stronghold, there's very low likelihood that they will lose their seat, except maybe there is an independent candidate who may come from their own camp.
Which is what we have today.
Which is what we have. But usually when you are talking about independent candidates, those who have actually stood for election before, they stand a higher chance of being able to win. But if they are fresh, you've not really galvanized your base well, and people still believe that what the decision you've taken is against the party, they are likely not to rally behind you. And I've always said that in having a by-election on a working day in such an environment, you always need to be able to pull your own people along, because you don't win such an election with floating voters. Floating voters usually are not really enthused to come out to come and vote. And you heard from Gemma, who says that, well, they engaged some people who said, well, this doesn't look like a national election. Why do they even have to care about to come and vote? But being able to call your own base and say, look, come around, let's go and vote, bus people around and all of that. If you're not able to do that, it will be very, very difficult gathering people, letting them go and vote. If you don't do that, your other opponent may do it, And in, parliamentary election is just first past the post. And so somebody can just win the election with just one vote, and it's a percentage game. It doesn't matter the turnout. If the turnout is even 45%, the person who will get the majority will win. I will not be surprised if turnout is below 60% today, right? Because of what we are seeing so far. Even in the 2024 election where you had both the presidential and parliamentary combined, the turnout in Ayawaso East was about 62%. So I will not be surprised if that number drops below 60% today, MFA.
The character and nature of this particular by-election is in sharp focus. We'll come back to that. And I say this because it seems to be one of that elections that a surviving widow has lost the primaries. And what does that mean in terms of sympathy kind of voting? Whether very religious people like Muslims will say that, well, you know, a few things will come into focus when I'm choosing. Plus this person who is also not happy, who's come out of it. It tells me that the character and nature of this particular one, it's not a usual by-election.
Yeah, the dynamics are very unique.
Yes, and the sentiments around Baba Jamal, you know, not wanting to be High Commissioner rather, but be a member of Parliament. Do all of these matter? Stay with me. Let me go to the Kandak cluster of school where Fatal Bayaga is coming back again with some update. Fatal, what can you report?
MFA, one thing that appears to be glaring across almost all the polling stations that I have visited so far is the voter turnout has been quite low. In fact, this particular place, when I reported from here in the morning, there were just some few people who came around. Now it's been virtually empty. I'm not seeing any voter coming around, even though some people have said that it's because maybe it is a Muslim community, and that maybe in the evening some people would begin to come on. But I spoke with some voters even right here, and one thing that they spoke about is the fact that there hasn't been, you know, adequate or significant development in this particular area over the years. In fact, they say that if you pass through the major street, you see that Nima is good, the constituency is looking good, but when you enter, many of the people are struggling with development issues. Apart from that, unemployment is quite high here. So many people are not really interested in you know, casting votes again. That's what some of them have been telling me. But let's get updates in relation to the voting process so far. You have been here since morning as the EC. Has the number changed as of now?
Yeah, as of now we have 64 voters. We have 33 males and 31 female. Yeah. 64 out of what number? Yeah, 500 is on the register. We have 500 on the register. So we have 64 now voting.
You have been manning Ghana's election, you know, across polling stations over the years. Based on your experience, do you think that at the moment maybe people will still come out to vote, or that is it for today?
With the condition here, today is a working day, and again it is the fasting, so we are expecting by 3 o'clock workers may ask permission and come and vote, and then people will come out from the mosques and come and vote. So we are expecting a little high turnout by the close of the day.
Thank you very much. So what he just said is very critical, and a lot more people have spoken about that. They say that after 3 p.m., that's when we'll see a lot more people coming out to vote in this very crucial election. We know that 5 individuals are eyeing a very important position. That is, they want to be the member of parliament for this particular constituency, which has been vacant for some time. So, MFA, we are monitoring all the developments from the Ayawaso East constituency, and we'll bring all of that to you as and when they unfold.
Bayaga, always a champion, bringing us updates from the Kandak cluster of school in the Ayawaso East by-election that's happening. Kofi, so I know that if I don't know much about religion, at least I thought in primary school that for the Muslim prayers, there's one that happens at 4:55 a.m. There's one that happens at 12:14 p.m. There's one that happens at 3:30. There's one that happens at 6:13 p.m. and at night at 7:23 p.m. Honestly, I'm not too, because this is a peculiar season for them. Maybe they have special kind of prayers and all of that. I'd be happy with the education if you're watching and you want to send the message. But while I acknowledge that, of course, the fasting, in fact, for Christians as well, most of them are in Lent season, so that will also show up in
a number of Catholic churches also.
A lot of it. In fact, there's one center at a Catholic school over there. But Kofi, it is telling, because I hear the NDC say that the Ghanaian people are happy with the performance. Whatever happens in a by-election, barring all of the challenges, a ruling party or a governing party or an incumbent should be able to convince, voters to want to cement how much they like them. Because we know that by now, per some of the analysis that you have done, that a lot of the MPP say that they just didn't turn out in 2024 to vote because they were not happy.
Yeah.
Maybe they're still unhappy. So for NPP, I will say. But if the NDC is still very excited about the fact that, well, they're doing well, and so people will come out to vote, I hear the religious argument and I hear the timing. But really, this is an election that would only happen today. Is this something I should accept?
In fact, whatever the outcome, the political communication gimmick was set in. Well, if there's low turnouts, it's going to be a good communication tool for the NPP to say that, well, it shows that, you can't even convince people to vote, although you claim that almost everything looks rosy at the moment, especially the economic factors. But I can understand why everybody is eyeing after 3 o'clock because of the data you just put out in terms of the prayer schedule for the brothers in Islam, where 3 o'clock is when they have their last but one prayer, I guess, right? And the expectation is that right after people have that prayer, they should be able to come out to now go and vote and still wait for the last prayer, maybe in the evening, right? And I'm looking at this interesting dynamics in terms of that constituency. If you look at Nima, that is the neighborhood of former President Akufo-Addo. He has his residence in that constituency, and it's interesting that the NPP has never won that constituency, although you have somebody who came from that constituency to become a president of Ghana on the ticket of the NPP. And so whatever the outcome of this election, I think that the political communication gimmick will set in. It will depend on where the direction will go. But definitely what we are seeing is not encouraging at all, because looking at the numbers we've picked so far from our fantastic reporters who are on ground covering this for us, I can calculate an average of about 75 voters per polling station currently being done, currently who are voted. And the average so far per polling station is between 200 to 500. And you can see that if we have done hours after polls actually open around 7 a.m., and we are still doing an average of 75 per polling station, that tells you that the expectation is that voter turnout will simply be below 60%.
Yeah.
And the lifeline for both candidates who are hoping to, or all candidates who are hoping to be winners of this election, will be after 3 o'clock when the prayers are said, and maybe when you definitely might get voters to come in to vote. But Fatai Bayaga made an important point about unemployment in the Ayawaso East constituency. It's a constituency filled with a lot of youth. And unemployment is telling there.
Hang on. We'll come back to that unemployment conversation. But earlier, we had a conversation with John Boadu, and I'll bring that to you.
Peaceful, and that's what we expect. The turnout is normally so when it's by-election, you understand? So I don't think that there's so much to that. We expect that, especially because they are in their festive occasion, fasting period. We expect that it should better when it's getting closer to the end of polls. And I think that should.
You said generally it has been peaceful. Have you recorded any incidents of violence?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, but then what?
No, we don't want to experience that nasty thing that happened during the Ablukman, not by elections. Just 3 constituencies, the police of this country could not protect our people to the extent that a woman who has been member of parliament, who has been minister, was attacked in such a brutish manner. As we speak now, the president has not spoken about it. The vice president, who is a woman, has not yet spoken about it.
But then, in their defense, they've largely condemned such acts.
By who?
They've largely condemned acts of violence.
I'm mentioning names, and you are talking about largely condemned. Everybody condemns it. They want to see the highest office of this land condemning such a nasty act on a woman. I don't think that it is right. It should be one of the darkest things that has ever happened to us in our elections. And we expect that we should hear from him. I think that if he speaks, his people will respond. But by and large, I think that things are okay.
For this constituency specific, there's large police presence here. Are you comfortable with it?
It was same the other time. Only 3 police stations. There were more than 1,000. The people were beating. Police was backing people who were assaulting people. I don't think that it is fair. So yes, their presence is okay. We commend it. But not that their presence. They should keep security and not allow people to be beaten before you come and beg the assailant. Was the guy arrested? How can that happen? So what is the need for their presence?
What will be your projection for this election?
Oh, I want to believe that our main key takeaway of this election is peace. Secondly, the people have told us that they've been deceived by the NDC. They promised them 24-hour economy. They've not seen. They promised reduction in petroleum, electricity prices. They've not seen. They promised water bills coming down. They've not seen. They promised reduction in school fees. They've not seen. You understand? Cocoa farmers are complaining. You understand? So that is what is worrying, and it can be seen from this the results of this election.
My last question to you: you've tried from 1992 quite consistently for quite some time. You've not won this constituency before. How confident are you of winning this?
For me, I think that it is coming home because the people of Nima have seen that their voices have not been heard. We've never heard anybody speaking for Nima in Parliament from 1992 to date. We've never. We've never seen any development in this constituency that was done by the NDC. Any development you see around was done by the New Patriotic Party. So as we went around talking to them, they say yes, they've seen it, and that they will show by voting for us this time around. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
When you were touring the various places talking to your people.
Well, John Boadu there earlier when he visited the constituency, my colleague Steve had a conversation with him, we've just brought to you. Kofi, you were on quite an important point about unemployment in that area. I recall during the primaries, during campaigning and all, each time that our reporters would go there, one thing was just constant, that they need jobs, they need amenities and all, and that is nearly in the hearts of Accra.
Yeah, and in fact, if you look at the number of youths who are into the Okada business, that should tell, in Nima, that should tell you that currently the only means of livelihood for most of the youths in Nima who are unemployed is to either go into Okada delivery business or maybe to go into betting, right? And if you go to Nima, you see a lot of betting centers because most of the youth are trying to find alternative means to actually live, and most of them will either end up betting or possibly going into the Okada business, and a lot of them also going into the transport business, where most of them turn out to be either trotro drivers or taxi drivers. And so that should tell you that Nima itself is one constituency that is actually, or the Ayawaso East is really calling for employment. And you can see the national numbers, and you can't take away the Ayawaso East constituency because it's actually pregnant with youth. And most of the time, most of them are actually looking for means to actually feed themselves.
Do you think that people who made the late MP's wife their choice, and unfortunately she didn't make it to represent the party, do you think that it will have a certain effect?
In fact, if you look at the context around that whole primary that the NDC actually had, what you see is that there were a lot of people who were not happy with that outcome, right? And so you look at how Parliament itself handled that incident where the leadership of the majority were against the fact that there were elements of vote buying, deciding to even take on Baba Jamal, tells you that there were a part of the NDC or the bigger NDC family that really wanted the widow to actually take over from her husband, because this is a consensus that they don't, that once you're able to win the primary, there's about 80% chance of you going to Parliament if you stand on the ticket of the NDC. So they actually divided the party. But for me, I think it's very important to actually make a point about how the party quickly moved on from that fault line that was created, that division that was created as a result of the outcome of the by-election. But you can simply see that although they've moved on, the fault line is still very visible. It's going to play out today. There are a lot of people who are NDC through and through, but would decide not to come out to vote because they believe that maybe the widow was not treated well. There are people who believe that Baba Jamal possibly found himself in vote buying, and that actually denying the woman the chance to actually lead the NDC in this by-election. They also have that, and they simply will stand by that and say that because of that, I don't see the MPP as an alternative. I don't see the independent candidate as an alternative. I simply want to stay home because my candidate is not in. There are those who say that, well, I really wanted the widow to come in. She didn't go in because a certain candidate possibly went through with vote buying allegation. I don't want that candidate. I want another alternative who possibly has some level of affiliation to the NDC. And who would they go for? They'll go for the independent candidates. And so the dynamics for me are different, and they are very interesting in this particular by-election. But it's important to also put across that once voter turnout is very low, even a political party that has a slimmer chance of winning will still believe that they can win. Yes. Because once you're able to galvanize your base and tell them to go out to vote, the expectation is that if your opponents are not able to get people to come in to vote, it's a game of numbers. You have the chance of maybe winning. So if you are seeing the MPP speak the way they are speaking, because they know in by-elections, anything can actually go, anything can actually happen, especially looking at losing that seat in terms of taking it on the tangent of the turnout. If the turnout is very low, the opposition usually has a chance to possibly make an impact. But in terms of that, the magnitude of the impact, we simply cannot know whether that will be enough for the MPP to win that seat for the first time in that constituency history.
Kofi, I'll admit that 2028 in terms of politics and election conversation is quite far away, but we also know that by-elections cast their shadows on the main elections. And Ayawaso East plays a greater role in greater Accra politics when we have a conversation. It's quite, like, the numbers are quite handsome. And of course, the NDC cannot out their winning without adding Ayawaso East. You say that when the numbers are low, there are two forms of winning. That it would allow the other opponents to take advantage and then they may win. Also, if they don't win, it tells, because for a constituency such as this one that we know is a household and a stronghold for the NDC, if the numbers are quite low, the turnout, and then, of course, they retain the seat, the numbers is still a conversation to want to stay on, to have a conversation. But what would that mean? Will the NDC play the card of, well, it was a religious time, and so the numbers didn't favor us? Or is really something to want to look at because of the things that have happened during primaries, before primaries, post-primaries?
Should the NDC lose, I bet you there will be a lot of hands that will be pointed at Baba Jamal.
If it doesn't, if the NDC doesn't even lose, let's just say, if the NDC doesn't lose, but the numbers, because of the turnout, will mean that even if he wins, the margin will be very small. And I know that the NDC will say that, well, of course, it happened during a time that religious activities were ongoing. But what does it mean for the bigger picture?
So I think that for the bigger picture, we need to look at, where the NDC want to be, right? Now they have supermajority in Parliament. And in every election, whether by-election or any substantive election, the NDC want to make a point that it's not just reflecting in sample polls, right? But it's reflecting also in elections, that voters are still endorsing us. They still believe that although we may have our own flaws in our first year, people still believe that they still want to stand with us. What we are doing sits well with them. And so turnout, they tell a story, right?
Yeah.
And especially the magnitude of win will also tell a story.
Yeah.
Because the previous, the deceased MP was able to garner more than 70% of the votes, right? It means that anybody who will take over from him should be able to equalize or do more. If you don't, there will be that political communication of even the candidate they brought wasn't really endorsed, or internally, the NDC will also have those who belong to the faction that maybe they don't belong to the camp of Baba Jama, who say that, well, maybe you chose the wrong candidate. And then also the opposition side will also use it against the government and say that, well, your endorsement didn't look good. You've dropped from 70% to maybe 50% or maybe 65%. It tells you maybe you are dropping. So whatever the case, the NDC would want to guard jealously that 70% they got in the main election. If for nothing at all, you should be able to get an equal number, or a number that even if it falls below, the difference should not be that much.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting constituency because if you look at Ayawaso East, it's the same constituency that has the Jubilee House, right? So the Jubilee House is sitting within the Ayawaso East constituency. So sometimes when you talk about development, you ask yourself, so if the Jubilee House is the seat of government itself, it's in Ayawaso East, and we are talking about development, and we are talking about, I'm sure their roads are good, right? Because you go everywhere, it's a star road. But in terms of unemployment, there's a constituency that has the seat of government. It has the Jubilee House there, and when you talk about unemployment, you can't take it out. It also paints a picture, right, that you're not so far away from the president. But in terms of the employment that we are even talking about, and the president made a point about creating 1 million people finding job within a certain cause. I'll talk about that anyway. But that's to tell you
which
that
we're contesting.
it's an interesting constituency, and whatever that is happening, for me, I think that for the opposition, it's an opportunity. You see them there because maybe not just for the win. You ask John Boadu what should be the outcome, and he makes mention of peace first before even any other thing, right? It tells you that they know that there's a high possibility they cannot win. But if they don't win, what are they taking away in terms of the strategy, the political communication? I think that is a focus for the opposition or for the MPP going into this election. It's not so much about winning anyway, but how do we play with the numbers to tell people that, well, in terms of this particular election, it's telling a story that with a constituency that even houses the Jubilee House, maybe the endorsement wasn't as high as it used to be in 2024. It tells you Ghanaians are possibly moving on, Ghanaians, the goodwill is coming down and all of that. So whatever happens, I think that the dynamics will be different in terms of the political communication, and lots will be spoken about in terms of Ayawaso East.
Kofi, we'll go for a break. When we come back, I like to think that it's not 3 yet, and people are watching. Both sides are banking their hopes on the fact that people will come out after 3 p.m. to vote. But if people are watching and they're still contemplating, well, I'm very political, but who would really bring me development, no matter what? Yeah. The primary duty of a member of parliament is to really help make laws, primary. But we know that that has advanced largely, that a person must know, this member of parliament must know how to lobby their way out and bring developments to your constituency or to your community. If you look at it really, if the NPP wins, then what? We'll go for a quick break. Please stay.
If you take the information in polls, you can use them to reorder your steps, or you can use them to emphasize and strengthen your steps. He said what he sees. We will work with what he sees and what we know and carry the day.
And my last question to you, please allow me. We cannot let you go without asking about the NPP. The party has put in place various measures now. Elections will be happening very soon from the polling centers this time up. What do you make of the entire decision of the NEC executive, the function executive of the NPP?
That is our normal route. Voting from bottom up. It's not a ritual. It is a strategy of renewal and giving people a new lease of life and a new mandate. So it is the natural thing or the normal thing we've done since the inception of this party. So there's nothing new to it. It's not a ritual, it's a strategy for renewal.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Before we let you go, we've seen massive presence of the police around. Today happens to be a working day, and from the time we set off in the morning, it seems turnout has been on the low side. Could it be a factor that the heavy presence really is deterring people from really coming out?
I don't think the police presence is a deterrence per se. By and large, by-elections are not that patronized in this country. Secondly, by-elections in strongholds are presumed as foregone conclusions, and that in itself depresses voter turnout. So these factors may be at play. But as I made a comment earlier, it's good to have police presence, but it speaks negatively of our evolution in our democracy. i.e., do we need to be forced or compelled to conduct ourselves decently and properly at voting centers? If the police is the one that has to impose good conduct, then there is something amiss. I would wish for the day when we as citizens, out of duty to party and country, and out of self-decency and a good understanding of democratic processes and the power, will come to the conclusion that this is a very simple civil exercise that does not require compulsion or being beaten over the head in order for us to exercise good conduct. So yes, it's okay, but I want us to look forward. And you are journalists. You have to propagate this message of proper conduct without the police. After all, what is discipline? Discipline does not mean someone is forcing you to do something. Discipline means you know what is right and you do it, and you know what is wrong and you desist from it without anybody telling you. I would wish that we get to that stage in the body politic and in our evolution of our democracy, and that will be fine for us.
And finally, for me, you are live from Ghana Television and our partner stations. Appeal to the voters to come in Ghana. This year we are expecting 1,000 plus, but as we speak, we've not even from the 2 centers, we've not even reached 600 yet. The time to go is not on our side, so at least they can come and exercise their franchise.
Well, my appeal is based on the fact that voting grants you the exercise of your fundamental freedoms. I have lived through all the military coups in this country, where your fundamental freedoms are denied in your face, where you have no right to say something or anything. If you are wronged, you are wronged, and you have no recourse. The military government sitting on your neck gives you no chance. So even if you are dissatisfied, it requires the shedding of citizens' blood to make a change. We don't want to get back into that era. We are now in an era where you are freely given the right to choose, the right to decide. Let us not toy with it. Let us not say that we are tired of democracy. We've tested democracy, we've tested military governance, and nobody should wait for military. Yes, democracy may have its pitfalls. Yes, democracy may have its shortfalls, but it's the best amongst the things available. I will therefore urge all our citizens and voters here make a little time to exercise this franchise that speaks your mind, so that together, all the political parties, all of us as citizens, we can advance the gains and the goals of democracy one step at a time. So my plea is, come out, spare the time. It is worth it. Come and cast your vote. And then you would have exercised your civic responsibility to the development of this country.
You say it's Chairman, how are your chances? How's your campaign going?
You did your last already.
Yes, but this is final.
So give somebody else.
I just wanted to pick your thoughts on. You said this is a simple.
Somebody else.
You indicate this is a simple exercise for all Ghanaians. Does this warrant the vote buying or gift giving we see from political parties like yourself?
It is a sad commentary on democracy. It is a sad commentary on the quality of lives that you have to exercise, you have to be transactional about who governs you. I can bet you that in your own hometown, when they are choosing a chief, right, you will not allow anybody who is not a true royal to occupy the stool. You will fight to the death to make sure that a genuine royal occupies the stool in your village or your hometown. How be it then that when it comes to the national, which is bigger than my hometown or your hometown, we are reckless about the decisions we make and reduce it to a simple transaction of money. We are doing ourselves a lot of harm. It means that we are not allowing the best to serve us, and that vicariously people will buy into themselves into an office for which they do not intend to be faithful servants. I have lived in South America, Brazil, Ecuador, Colombia. I've lived and worked in these places, and I've seen the disaster they courted for themselves with drug money entering their political system.
I think the process is very peaceful. Since morning, I have toured a lot of polling stations, and I'm happy with events.
And the EC, the body, officiating body, also, you're happy with how the whole process, the organization for them?
Yes, so far everything is peaceful.
One of the major concerns will be about vote buying or gift giving in such elections. Have you encountered any so far?
No, currently I have not experienced anything like vote buying in this constituency.
And you're not engaging in one yourself?
No, you can say that I'm sitting here and I'm not even engaging anybody.
I see. Then what about the security in the area? What do you make of it? Given that you are not really into this constituency, what do you make of the police presence here?
Oh, I think you can see everywhere you go, you see the presence of the police. I think in all polling stations, you have about 70 police officers around. So I think that has also helped in the peaceful nature of these elections.
Right. So your overview, you're happy with how everything is going?
Yeah, I'm happy, and we are praying that it continues like this to the end of the elections.
I just want to pick your projections on who you'd think will be the winner for or emerge victorious in these elections.
Obviously, it's Baba Jama.
You are confident in this?
I'm confident in that.
And what will be the percentage you'll be looking at?
We are looking about 70%.
Very well. Thank you so much. I'd want to get close to the NCE for Ayawaso. Do you stand by what your colleague MCE said? 70%?
100%. I stand by whatever he said. And I know we are winning. Now I'm even thinking we win more than the 70%.
I see. Why are you so confident? The people say that you've been in power since 1992. This constituency has not really developed.
That is not what I'm saying, because I know Nima very well. Today, when we came, the things I saw here, makes me believe that what we are hearing outside is not the fact. Yes, it's not the fact.
One of the main concerns will be, some of the main concerns they would raise will be infrastructure, their roads, sanitation, an expansion of their markets also. They say these things have not been provided for them, and they'll be looking at the next member of parliament to provide these for them. Are you confident you've done enough for these people to retain you back in the seat?
If you are talking about market, currently they are building, they are going to start a modern market, a 24-hour market, which every municipality is having one, and they are also going to benefit from that. And surely, His Excellency Baba Jama is somebody who has been tried and tested. He has been a deputy regional minister, he has been MP, he has been a minister, so he knows how to work, and when he comes, I believe he is going to work for the people of Nima, Ayawaso East.
And for the electoral process also, you are satisfied with everything going on?
We are all satisfied, because when you are outside, you hear things about Nima. When we came here, it's not like that. Very peaceful, the people are very friendly, and we are, like you can see our opponent, we are all here. Nobody is fighting anybody. We are all just, having discussions, and so we believe that, as my brother said, there's going to be peace to the end of the day.
Yes. My last question to you: why are you here? Given that there's more work to be done, you're an MCE. Definitely, work is ongoing in your constituency or in your region.
As for this NDC, it is one party. And we need more people in parliament, because the work in parliament influences what we do on the ground as these MCs. Are you getting it? So if you don't get the numbers in parliament, people will say that you have the numbers. We want more numbers to be able to, influence decisions. And the decisions that are taken in parliament are what we implement at the municipal and the district levels. So if you don't have the people there to make correct decisions for us, what are we going to implement? Are you getting it? So we are also here to support our people here to win this election, so that we get the numbers that we want.
I'd want to get this right. You are interested in the numbers you get in parliament, not the administrative work you've been entitled to.
The administrative work, we are doing administrative work.
But you're not in your area right now.
I'm not in the district right now. But no, it is, the work is such that it is not I alone. The work, people are there who are doing the work. I supervise. Are you getting the district coordinating director is there? Are you getting it? I supervise when we take decisions, they are supposed to implement it. I monitor what they do. Are you getting it? So whatever they are supposed to do today, if you get to the district, it is being done. He said it is being done. Before you came, I was receiving a call. Just they're asking me of something, and which I have given it a go ahead, and they are doing it. We are working together. There are people there who are working. If you get there, whatever you want to be done, it will be done.
PP stronghold. How confident are you of winning?
Well, I mean, nobody thought the NDC could win Domiko Abenya.
Over 70%. What's your projection?
Let them keep dreaming, okay? They haven't even brought a hole here in this constituency. Other constituencies, they go and they work midnight. Here, not even a Pegasus has hit the ground here. Why? They think that people don't reason. They think that people don't think they do. The people want development. If you're not giving it to them, they are not voting machines that automatically they'll go and vote for you. It doesn't happen like that.
One of the major characteristics of a by-election will be the low voter turnout, and it's playing across almost all the polling stations you visited. Are you not concerned this will be a major playout for your win?
No, not at all. I mean, all of us who have followed by-elections over the period, we know that the turnout is usually low. And clearly, what we are seeing happening today is testament to, that long-standing tradition of low turnout as far as by-elections are concerned. But we are not perturbed as well at all. And I'm sure that the people coming out would vote for the candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Baba Ali Yusuf. Look, also, we should be minded that this is predominantly, a Muslim community. and we are in the period of Ramadan. So a lot of people are fasting and catching some time, and afterwards so many other people we have spoken to in the community say they will vote after 3. So the numbers will pick up after 3, and I'm sure that the turnout will go a little bit high, and also still go in favor of our candidates. So we are very upbeat with what's going on now.
My last question to you: the 2024 election saw you go out of office. The Ghanaian populace say you didn't really give them what they needed. Are you confident you are going to give these people what they need? What are you promising them?
They are disappointed with what is going on.
Are they?
The Ghanaian people are. Yes, ask anybody who voted for the NDC. Look, let's put 40,000 polling stations in this country and see whether the NDC will get the same number of votes again. They will not, I am telling you.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. So you think the cocoa farmers who have received a dastardly haircut will still go and vote for this incompetent government? No, they will not. You think the youth of this country who were promised agenda 133 jobs and the 24-hour economy that has failed, you think they will still go and vote for this government? You think the people who believed in oral that the NPP people have stolen money to the tune of $21 billion and today it's a fiasco? You still think people are gullible? They will swallow hook, line and sinker such stinky propaganda? No. You still think that the issue of Galamsey that remain unresolved, that today Galamsey is even far worse than it was before, that was put under the neck of the NPP and strangulated. You think today people don't see that Galamsey is far worse than it was before? They do. So on what accord? Look, utility prices have gone up. People are suffering to pay electricity bills and water bills. Okay? You don't, by any stretch of the imagination, think that these same people would get up and go and vote for the NDC. Why? Because they are the most handsome set of people in this country, or what? Or because they breathe, some different superior air than we all breathe? No. It's common sense. The people want deliverables, and the NDC is not giving the deliverables.
You think when the NDC and the NPP are put apart currently, they'll choose you?
Today, almost everybody is looking for Akufo-Addo to give him his stone. Right?
To give him a stone.
His stone. And it's just a matter of time that the people of Ghana will look for Akufo-Addo in the hot afternoon like this with lanterns and torchlights.
For what?
Because of the shame that this government would put on the Ghanaian people, the lies that they told on Akufo-Addo. But the performance of this government would expose them that what Akufo-Addo did, they would not match a fraction of it.
So you think Akufo-Addo will be a savior for the failure of this government?
Give time, some time. And once we keep meeting and having conversations, one day you will tell me that indeed the stone has been brought. John Mahama has failed already. This government is a failure already. It's failed already. If all these things I have counted doesn't scare you, I don't know what else will scare you, but just wait and see. Some of the things that would unravel as far as the economic mess that we are encountering would unfold right in our faces. It is not me wishing doom for them, but it is their act of incompetence that is catching up with them. The lies that they told, the unfathomable promises they made, that's what is going to catch up with them. It's just a matter of time.
So for this constituency, what are you promising the people here?
Baba Ali is a bona fide member of this community, born bred here. Since we have been campaigning and going around, they have told us we drink, eat, sleep, play everything with him. Baba Ali here, we know him. Baba Jamal, was MP in Akwetia. Chopped the way he wanted after Akwetia, became High Commissioner to Nigeria. He has run back here. Why? It cannot be about one person. It cannot be. So the people read in between the lines as well. So the people think that it's time for a fresh blood, time for some, new breath of energy, and that's why Baba Ali Yusuf is the option for the people. Homegrown, homeboy, he understands them, they know him, and indeed, he represents the aspirations of the people of Ayawaso East, so that every born member of this community knows that I can also rise and get to the top as far as contributing to the society, to the success of this society is concerned.
Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
So that was an executive.
Also, we've just been bringing you excerpts of what has been happening so far at the Ayawaso East, the ongoing by-election. The Kofi, we are wrapping up. We're just wrapping up on the point of unemployment.
Yeah.
So facilities that maybe a member of parliament can lobby for their constituency. And I asked the question, if you vote for the member of parliament, then what? You would help formulate laws in parliament, but are they able to lobby for you, for your community to get something?
You know, I made a point about Okada riders in that constituency, and in fact, if you look at the jubilation that came when the bill was sent to Parliament to legalize the activities of Okada, there was a lot of jubilation also from Nima. I remember we ourselves were in Nima to interview a number of people, and they were happy. And so that kind of decision by the president to say that, well, I know, I mean, a lot of people are saying a lot of things about Okada business, but I'm going to regulate it, to regularize it for you. There were a lot of people who actually fell in love with the president because of that decision and said that, well, even though maybe he's not giving us direct employment, he is putting in place measures to make sure that the work we found ourselves doing currently is sustainable, is safe, and is regulated. And so there are a lot of people who have actually developed love for the political party and for the president, possibly because of that. And maybe, I don't know how Baba Jama will be able to eat from that pie anyway, but that has been cooked by the president, and that possibly will play out today. There are people or the Okada community who say that, well, they're going to rally behind Baba Jama or the NDC because of what the president has done for them in the Okada space. But whatever happens today, it is clear, based on what we have seen, that turnout will be very low.
Yeah.
And when turnout is low, what we know in by-election is that anything can actually happen. Although all the polls are saying that NDC has a strong chance of winning. For me, I think dropping from 70% in the last election not to win this election will be an extreme projection anyway. But no matter what, it is an election. Anything can happen, especially when you see turnout being very low. Amifa.
Well, thank you so much, Kofi. Thank you as well. Please stay with us. This is a continuous coverage. The team for polls will take over. My name is Emefa Akosiadete. See you tomorrow.